What up? Welcome to the Micah Dixon podcast. I'm Micah Dixon. If you're wondering, where have I been? Where has Micah been? I've been out the way. I have been out the way. But I got to admit, though, I've been in a great space right now. My life has, it's changed so much. It's changed, more than I could have ever imagined. If you know my story, and if you're new here, listen, subscribe, like, comment, and go watch my previous podcast episodes to catch up on where we are right now in the year 2025. Where has Micah been out of here? But before that, though, a quick, I guess you could say, preview of my story. 2022, my life shifted really big when it came to my belief system in God. I went from a religious viewpoint to a relationship. If you know, you know. If you don't, I hope you get the chance to find out. In 2023, my sister went through her own journey in life, and she realized that she was not able to care for her 3 children anymore. And, God said, hey, Micah, you're going to have to do this for me, right? And, at that time in my life, I was the radio chick, the VIP chick, the get it poppin', got all this money, make it happen chick. And that all came to a halt when God said, take on this for me. My mother, she was going through her own health issues with being on dialysis and having her kidneys, functioning through that kind of system and treatment. She fell and broke her shoulder in May of 2023. She went to a rehab center that month. June. And she was supposed to come home in September and live with me in September of that year. And the reason why she went to a rehab center was because she lived alone and she used a walker. So when she had broke her shoulder, she was not able to care for herself anymore. My father, her husband, worked full time. I worked full time. I also got 5 children, so I could not care for her in her home. So I said, Mom, come stay with me when you get out of the rehab center, and you'll be fine here. And she ended up passing away that same night. We had said she would come live with me. So that was my life in a quick flash. It went from me being the it girl, the hot girl, the money getting turn up girl, to me having to have this huge submission and surrenderance to what God wanted me to do. And to cover my sister's children, and yet to also allow my mother to go on her next journey, and she passed from this earth. And so I can't explain to you what a person's mind would look like in that time who did not know God for themselves, right? But I can say, even in that time of me having to take on so much, I never lost my mind. And I know for a fact it's because I knew who God was. I trusted in his word, and he literally seen me through every bit of change that happened. He changed my perspective, the way I viewed my life. And I was like, instead of my sister's children being a burden to me, let me not look at them as a burden, but yet they're here to teach me something. I'm here to teach them something. They are blessings to me. And God knew that, you having all 5, you have a different mothering about yourself. So I learned more about grace and patience and endurance, and how each child has a different personality and yet a way that they learn. No 2 kids are the same, right? You hear parents say that a lot, but you don't know what that parent means until you have 5 kids in your home. But no 2 kids are the same. And I learned that by having my 2 boys, my 2 nephews, and my niece. And yes, it changed me. My mother passed away September of 2023. I had money in my account. We were going to go, before she passed, out of town and hang out, me and the kids, and just to get a break from life, just life. And when she passed, she did not have life insurance. And so I had to use all that I had, which I was more than willing to use all that I had, and ask for help to take care of her funeral services and expenses. And from that point, my money kind of just started to decrease. My endorsements dropped. The car I owned broke down. and I had to get a car note. And I was like, I went from paying my rent on time to asking God, how am I going to pay rent this month? How are we going to have food this month? The kids need coats and shoes for winter. What am I going to do? And even though I was at times in a state of fret, I just thank God that he would send the provision, because my neighbors would cook for me and the kids when they knew we were too tired. What up, Brittany? My neighbors, Whistle and Tanya, would babysit when I had to go to work. My neighbors would give clothes and shoes for the kids when they knew, like, hey, they didn't even know what we were going through, but they just would just do. So I thank God for that provision throughout that time. I thank God for that assignment that caused me to grow, so fast. And yet, even in that time, I was in such a graceful state that I never lost my mind. I was always covered. I can look back today and say, I don't understand how I was able to just continue walking. And mind you, I'm still the radio girl. At this time. And so, even my boss was like, how are you doing this? You got these 5 kids, your mother just died, and you're still like, Z1079, what's up? Good morning, Micah Dixon. I hope you're having a great day. And I had to remind my boss, I said, you know what? It's not me, but it's just God's grace carrying me, because if it was me doing it, I would have lost my mind a long time ago. So where has Micah been? Micah has been, just spending time loving on my Lord and Savior, spending time, reflecting, spending time sowing seeds in good soil in different parts of my life that I never knew would ever exist. That's where I have been. And no, I don't do radio anymore. I don't do radio no more. I literally graduated to a whole different part of my life that I thought it would be up to me and it would be on me to quit radio and walk away from it, but I got fired. I got fired. Are you kidding me? Do you know who I am? I got fired from radio. No, I'm playing. I didn't get fired, but I got laid off because it was company cuts, and when you in my position, you're just a midday host. It just happens. It's part of the business. So I love my radio family. I love that I had 10 years of an amazing run in radio, from radio in Cleveland as the board op to doing the midnight, to moving to Columbus, Ohio, doing the afternoon drive for 4 years, having my second son in Columbus, Ohio, to back in Cleveland from 21 to 25, just having a phenomenal run of hosting events, of learning of, the game and how it's structured, the systems with the game, and also the amazing music that they had at the time, amazing people that were in their positions for radio. I thank God for my mentors I had that kept me in just a state of just understanding, because if you know the radio game and how it functions, baby, you got to have thick skin to be in radio, thick skin. But thankfully, my life before radio gave me thick skin. And in radio, I still had to get more thick skin, but I had an amazing career. And, that career I had was literally for me, it was to craft me and shape me into who I am now, right? Radio it's just a platform and a position, but it wasn't my gift. My gift is to speak. My gift is to lead, and my gift is to help people, get to their next version of themselves. It's to get them out of their own bondage and to help them get into a new viewpoint of how they see themselves, and then some, So I thank God for that I didn't let a position hold me back from who I'm becoming now. And I thank God that I had an amazing career. I made some good money, baby. I used to make money in radio. So let me say what happened. What happened was February 2025, I went into work one morning. Before I went into work that morning, though, I literally had a dream 2 nights before, or a night before, about me walking down this street with a whole bunch of engorged fruit. There were so many trees on this street, and I remember it being a street that had nice houses, and they had these huge trees that had like engorged apples and engorged lemons and engorged oranges. And I was just thinking like, dang, this is some big fruit on these trees. And I was with De'Ara and my son Micah at the time. And De'Ara told me to go get her a lemon off this woman's lemon tree. I seen the lady on the porch sitting down. And I said, no, you go get it because she's there. You go get the fruit. And she said, you go get it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go get it. I remember walking up to the house and I could sense that the woman was by herself and missing her husband. And so, I was like, can I get a lemon down from the tree? And she was like, yeah, go to the back of the house, get the ladder and climb up and get the lemon down. And so I go to the side of her house and there's a restaurant there. And from the restaurant, I go through the restaurant to the back of the house. There's a whole open field. I run through the field. There's some dog that's looking funny and he's running with me and we just running in the field. And I go back. I'm like, ain't no ladder back here to get to the fruit. I need the lemon. And so I go back to the lady and I was like, hey, there's no ladder for the lemon tree. I can't get the fruit. And she said, okay, well, go up to the front of the house and get the lemon down. So I go up to the front of the house, climb up to the attic part, get the lemon. It was super huge to carry for De'Ara. I look down, it's De'Ara Micah talking to the woman, and I bring down the lemon and I wake up. The next morning, I didn't have a job. The next morning, they were like, this is your last day. And I said goodbye to the Micah Dixon show on Z1079 Radio 1 after 10 amazing years. Goodbye to that position I held there. But remember my dream. Remember what I just dreamed about, baby. I walked down a street I did not know with nice houses and huge fruit. Not the little fruit, but the big ones. So, when I heard the news, as much as my body went like this quick shock state, because I knew I planned to quit that year anyway. I knew this year, I'm out of here. I got a lot more to do, and I felt, restricted with my growth. I was like, dang, Lord, I wanted to call it a shot. And he was like, yeah, but it's up to me. And I was like, well, what's next? Because now my money cut now. I don't even know what I'm about to do. Now it's like I got this going on, I got that going on. How am I keep up with my group chat? So it was all these questions that was happening. And, big story short, he was able to just show me the different avenues of revenue coming my way. And yet I didn't realize it then in that moment. And I'm still right now realizing what the fruit entails for me. And I'm just like, Lord, dang, ooh. And so that's where I've been. I've been off of radio. I've been in an amazing relationship with my man who I love. I have an amazing covering for my man. I've been with my children. I've been in such a peace. I've been in such a joy. I've been on the prayer line every day. I have been building while I'm resting. I have been creating and crafting and making new friends. I have been shedding more of what does not belong in this season. I have been wrestling with the old me to say, you got to go over there now, and the new me, come on and get what you got to get. I have been preparing to pour into people. I have been ready to just help those that need. I dropped my first ebook this year. My second ebook comes out in a week and a half. My first audio series drops this year. And my first online course drops this year. I have been getting the fruit that belongs to me. So that's where Micah has been very much, traveling. I went to Greece this year. I went to Greece and had an amazing time kicking it in Greece. But that'll be a whole different podcast though. But I went to Santorini, beautiful Santorini. I went to a wedding in Texas. Brianna, I have just been living an amazing life. But let me just say, if you noticed in the beginning, I told you my story with the assignment God had for me. And mind you, that was in 2023 that I had to get my sister's kid to cover them. And this year, just about 2 weeks ago, she got her custody for her children awarded back to her by the judge. So huge news for her right there. I thank God for that he was able to bring her back out and around. We fasted and prayed for her, me and Alicia, in 2024. And to see God's promise, to see God's, answering of prayers, it's just like, Lord, I thank you. Lord, I trust you. I can't see what's happening tomorrow, but So with that, me and you locked in, we good to go. But that's where Micah has been. And an amazing shift. And I'm still shifting right now. And I thank God for that. I thank God that he's just continuing to let me be a vessel. And to pour into me and give me more light and more truth and more guidance, more love. But I can't complain one bit. I do have more coming from you, more coming for you, actually, with the podcast. This is episode 1 that we're back. And we're in a different location. I know, like, Micah. But guess what? I don't do radio. So I have a whole different perspective on how I'm going to shoot my content and keep getting it out to you. But, no complaints, just continued growth, continued trusting in what the Lord has for you, and continue going to get what he has for you by any means necessary. What is necessary shall be, and what's not will not be. And what is for you shall be, and what's not will not be. But I want to encourage you to remain in peace in any chaos that you may encounter, in any trial, tribulation you may encounter, to remain in peace, to remain in God's covering, his grace and his favor, and let him do a good work in you, okay? So where has Micah been with the Lord? I've been with the Lord, honey, okay? Tucked away and just let him do his thing in me. So with that, if you have not done so, I know now you're like, Micah, I gotta get more out of this story. What's the rest? Where's the rest? Okay, like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next drop coming your way. We're gonna drop every Sunday 7 o'clock, the Micah Dixon podcast. I'm gonna have some guests on the show. I'll let you know who, when, what, where, and why. And other than that, continue just seeking him for your life. Continue seeking God for his mercy and for his blessings, and seeking him for what he is doing in you. If anybody knows about losing and yet to win in the end, it's me. That year of 2023, I lost everything: my car, my mother, my so-called it girl mindset, it image, and I just became a different person. And I thank God that I did not have an identity crisis. I didn't go through that. I didn't go through like, who am I? No, I realized who I was in God, and I walked through that. But again, that will be a separate podcast. But I think the next one we're going to cover, building from a place of rest. Because where I am now, I'm able to craft so much because I'm now in a state of rest. I'm not in the state of independent, go, get it, girl. Yeah, girl. Like, I get it. I've been that. I've done it, so I can talk about it. But I'm not in that state no more of just having to go and get it and be burnt out and be tired and be dragging and look like I'm so sleepy and I don't have much to give, okay? But to be in a state of rest and to build from that point is what I want to do. So I thank God for that. Thank God for the polishing up. Thank God for the servitude. Thank God for my new friends, my new growth, my new ability, my new vision, my fresh vision. And that's just about it though. Other than that, listen, get me on IG, of course, TikTok, and more at The Dope Dixon. We are still dope. It stands for Definition of Personal Empowerment. Don't forget that. And group chat goes down in Miami Gardens, Florida, July 31st at Cold Space. So be there. We're going to have food by Pretty Healthy and drinks by English Brown Winery. We're going to have on a panel the one, the only John Manning, Aaliyah Lewis, and also Joy St. Clair. So get tickets online right now at welcomeToColdSpace.com. And I will catch you on the other side. Peace out.